So you want to play the best character in Marvel Rivals? Well, let me give you a full, no-nonsense guide on how to do so. Deadpool is a fun and active hero, and everybody wants to play him. If there's anybody that you want to play, and you want an easier guide to, leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Deadpool is a momentum-based hero that builds around an RPG-style progression system that unfolds during the match. His full power is not available immediately. It must be earned through his active combat, eliminations, and post-kill interactions. Deadpool generates combat points by dealing damage with weapons, landing abilities, and participating in eliminations. CP contributes towards XP progression. XP is used to unlock upgraded versions of abilities mid-match, meaning your progression is action-based and not time-based. Securing those final hits provides you the highest opportunity for XP in your kit. You get access to a photo mode. This photo mode comes with two options: long-range modes and close-range photos. They both grant a bonus amount of XP based on which one you do. The long-range one has more safeguard because you're farther back, and the close-range one gives you an opportunity real up close, but that big old bonus of XP. Backing away immediately after a kill reduces potential XP gain. Staying engaged after elimination accelerates progression. Overcommitting, though, might create punish windows. Enhancing your abilities are locked behind your XP thresholds. Earlier upgrades result in earlier power strikes. Delayed XP acquisition leaves Deadpool operating below peak effectiveness. Deadpool's overall identity is around aggressive engagement, kill confirmation, and smart risk management. His kit favors players who control space after eliminations rather than disengaging immediately. Momentum and decision making are going to directly influence his power curve. So you want to learn how to play Deadpool as a Vanguard. Well, let's give you the basics. His guns deal 36 base damage and 72 damage as a crit. If you upgrade your pistols, they're going to turn gold colored and they're going to do 42 damage base, 84 crit. But now you have an emoji that does an extra amount of damage. This is for balanced pressure output, and the explosion favors your clustered engagements that you're going up. While we're here, let's talk about Vanguard's main capability, the Unicorn Bubble. The Unicorn Bubble has 300 health and anyone can walk through it, so be careful where you throw it. Once you upgrade that bad boy, it's going to get covered in bling. It's going to get a bigger radius, be gold, and now has 400 damage that it can absorb. This is mostly your best defensive util, and it's used for space. Deadpool's swords deal about 30 single slash damage, but if you do his full triple combo, deals about 88 damage. Once you upgrade his swords, they're going to get gold plated, and now his full combo deals about 102, whereas his single slashes do now about 35 damage base. However, his straight damage increases, but it doesn't sustain or get any crit modifiers by base. Until you upgrade them, that is the only time that you're able to do those. Now that we talked about his awesome swords, let's go over his little bit lackluster bit for the Vanguard character. Compared to the other classes, his slash does 40 damage, still has those maximum of 3 slashes at base form. However, when you upgrade them, it doesn't change much, doesn't give you a damage boost. All it does is give you super increased mobility for all of your slashes. Doesn't do much to your damage, doesn't do much to how you play gameplay wise, just makes it much easier to bounce off and get out of the situations after you do the slash attack. So with Vanguard's Deadpool in your area, it gives you a turbo boost to all of your weapon attacks, deals in total about 47 to 49 damage, and covers a little bit of the enemy screen. However, once you upgrade that bad boy, you're going to notice that it's going to do just a little bit more. Now you do even more with your speed boost, and you do a little bit extra damage. The screen cover is immaculate, the amount that you get. This is more of your team-oriented utility, but the damage is secondary to the disruption that it causes. So now that we've talked about the regular abilities, time to talk about ults. For Vanguard specifically, his skill issue variant gives you 200 bonus health, and then for every hit that you get, you're going to get a little bit more. That hit is going to deal about 45 damage and is fire rate based, meaning your Star-Lords are going to deal a lot more damage than people who shoot slower like Groot. Now, once you upgrade his banhammer, it's going to now deal about the exact same amount of damage as the original one. However, if you notice, you're now dealing damage over time regardless if they're hitting you or shooting you, missing you, or whatever. It's designed for your pressure, not burst damage.
Here's a little thing from the future. Deadpool can jump on enemies, but it doesn't deal any damage if he's on Vanguard.
So this next part is Deadpool's Pop Quiz Ultimate with his sword ability. This one is harder to explain with practice range stuff, so I'm going to show you with gameplay and stuff like that. Pop Quiz starts a challenge giving you 200 bonus health as long as your tank, a speed boost, and healing over time. His description says it gives it to your teammates, but it's actually only for his upgraded version right now as I'm making this video. Complete the challenge for even more speed and healing, plus a refresh to your healing factor, meaning you can tank another kill shot. Remember, listen for Galacta in the last 5 seconds. Now, you upgrade it, and like the regular, it starts a challenge giving you 300 bonus health now, and increased speed boost and healing over time. Complete the challenge for even more speed and healing, plus a refresh to your healing factor, meaning you can take another kill shot. However, now you and your teammates around you get bonus health for everything you do. It lingers around afterwards at 200 bonus health maximum until it degenerates. But I hope you love listening to Galacta for those final 5-second counts. So you want to play Deadpool as a duelist? Well, here's something to consider. Your jump always deals 26 damage and is infinite as long as you keep landing on their head. So if you want to deal high sources of damage, be sure that you keep pressing that jump button. So, Deadpool's guns. They deal about 40 damage base and about 80 damage on a crit. They're hit scan damage only and don't really have any secondary effects. However, once you upgrade them, they're going to get gold plated and there becomes an explosion that happens every 5 hits. Doesn't matter if you hit opponents, it just shoots it every time on the 5th bullet. But now, your base damage for your pistols is 48 and crits deal 96. Some mechanical notes: crit double bullet damage only, so your explosion is a flat AoE, non-crit, non-headshot based thing. This encourages sustained fire rather than just burst peeking. While we're over here on the side with Deadpool's guns, let's go over his throwing sword. The base form of it deals about 75 to 85 damage, is only the one single hit projectile. However, once you go ahead and upgrade that in the bottom left corner, you're actually going to get 3 chances with it. The first hit does 78 to 84, second 80 to 85, and the third does 60 to 65 but does a 50 damage explosion at the end. Basically, the entirety of the damage should be about 272 to 276 directly. The damage sequence is pretty much fixed, and the explosion always happens at the very end of the chain. However, you can change the direction that you want to throw the blade after every time that sword comes back to you for every throw. So with the train of damage that we have going on right now, what you want to do as duelist mostly is use these swords. His full combo deals about 126, but a single slash or a single press of your damage button does about 42. And with base, you actually don't have that crit registration that most of his stuff does, unless if you jump above or do your slash attack. That is the only way that you have access to it. However, once you upgrade the katanas, they deal the exact same amount of damage, but now every time you do anything, you can attack them from the top and get those crit values in. After hopping onto an enemy, your next guaranteed attack is to be your stab. Some mechanical things that you should consider: the guaranteed stab forces Deadpool's highest value melee hit, and the crit access makes this the highest melee burst variant. But it requires active engagement, meaning that your hopping timing does really matter to get that damage. Alright, now let's go over Deadpool's most insane feature on Duelist, would be his slashes. While they only deal 42 damage per max hit, and you get the 3 slashes every time that you hit, once you upgrade your slashes as Duelist, this is where stuff gets insane. Every time that you attack an opponent, you can jump in the air like so. It's pretty fun. Honestly, I'll admit, playing him a lot, it's really good. But you have to make sure those hits connect, or else the second that you miss it, your red value goes away, and now all of a sudden you can't do anything, and you can be stuck. But if you miss the end, it ends the entire chain. But the infinite scaling is execution gated. No cooldown or extension safety net is on this, so meaning you theoretically can just shred through an entire team as long as you're hit. So, the Duelist version of Deadpool in your area does 75 to 77 damage and slightly obscures the enemy screen, but it gives you a damage reduction. Once you upgrade that thing, it's going to actually do still about the same, only doing 76 to 78 now, but you have way more damage reduction and it really obscures the enemy screen. The mechanical notes of this are the screen effect stacks with the visual chaos, plus the damage reduction immediately applies the second you use it. Over Deadpool's ults, the first one is Skill Issue. This one does 63 damage per miss that the opponent does on you. This also has a base rate on their rate of fire, so people who shoot slow like those bots aren't going to take as much damage compared to someone like a Storlord who shoots a lot. But if the enemy hits you, the effect is negated. Let's upgrade that ult of his. So if you go ahead and open your book, Skill Issues, the one on the far right, and this is going to make his damage still do that 60 damage every time they miss, but it deals damage over time as well. And there's a damage multiplier that the enemies get. Some mechanical notes of this is that the rewards suppressing enemy without trading, plus you lose value in direct DPS trades, honestly. Okay, this part is another hard one. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to do another bit of explaining it to you while showing you just gameplay of it. So, DPS Deadpool starts the challenge giving you a speed boost and healing over time. Doesn't do much other than that. Once you complete the challenge, however, you get more speed and healing. However, if you listen carefully, you'll hear Galacta counting you down for your last 5 seconds of your thing without any upgrade. However, now you upgrade the thing, and like before, your ult starts a challenge, giving you an increased speed boost and healing over time bonus, but now also a damage boost. Complete the challenge for even more damage, speed, and healing, plus a refresh to all of your cooldowns except the healing factor. Be sure to listen for Galacta to know when that jackpot. So you want to help your team as Strategist Deadpool. Well, let me show you how you can do that. Something to keep in mind, you can jump on your teammates to actually give them bonus healing, and it's infinite. The many times that you jump on your teammates is the amount of times that you can do it. And it doesn't deactivate until you double jump again, not landing on any of your teammates. So, Deadpool as a healer does 47 damage healing, and it doesn't stack based off of the critical hits, unlike everything else with his bullets. However, his guns deal about 25 base damage, but 50 for those crit spots. Once you upgrade his guns, they're going to turn gold again, and that's going to upgrade the damage from 28 to 56 damage for those crits. Now, when you do heals, it's going to do about 51 to 53, depending on the size of them. Plus, now you have your emoji again. Once you have that emoji, be keeping aware that that emoji also deals healing in the area of effect that it lands. It is not a damage only, as you can see right here. When the enemy is hurt, it hits them and it heals them. So this means that you really want to make sure you're getting these constant tags with your healing rather than just looking around and doing burst healing quickly. So, when you have your guns out as Deadpool, you have access to your throwing sword. This does about 60 to 70 damage against your opponents, but it's going to deal about 180 to 185 in total against your teammates if you're throwing it at them, because they have initial healing plus the AoE and then another one for when it pulls back towards you. So something that you'll notice, whenever you have your swords out as Strategist Deadpool, you have a green area of effect. That'll deal about 30 to 33 damage per slash of that little green surge, meaning it'll deal about 93 to 96 in total. Your regular damage is about 30 with your slashes, meaning your combos are going to be around 88 to 90 damage in total. Upgrade those swords, however, and they get gold plated like normal, meaning now your damage is going to be about 35 and capping off around 102 to 110 for your total amounts of damage. Your healing is increased as well from 35 to 38 now per slash. And your full combo is going to heal around another 108 to 120 depending on who the characters really are. Something that you do want to keep in mind is that if you're above, you can get crits actually still with your swords without them even being upgraded at any form. Now that we have his swords out, let's talk about his slash. His slash deals 30 damage every time, and you only actually get the one for your base. However, if you notice, it actually does that surge that we like. That surge heals about 47 per hit of every time that you do it. Now, when you upgrade it, it's actually not going to increase the amount of damage that you deal, but it gives you access to the triple combo that you're normally allowed, and it now heals 58 per hit. The hard cap prevents infinite sustainability like you can do with Duelist, so it means that you have more of a reliable short healing period, meaning that you're not going to be able to sustain amount of healing for long compared to your normal healers like Cloak and Dagger, Luna Snow, and Invisible Woman. The Strategist version of Deadpool in your area does about 47 to 49 damage and slightly covers the enemy's screen, but if you notice, the green area of effect actually will gradually heal your teammates but very slow. Now, the upgraded version of this is a little bit different. Now you're going to deal always 49 to 52 damage. The screen cover is going to be a lot more, and that healing effect is actually still going to be quite slow and gradual, but it's actually going to be way more than it was before, so you're going to actually see a lot more value and input from that gradual lead over. It's more of a team-oriented utility, so the damage is secondary to the disruption that you actually get from it. Deadpool's first ultimate is Skill Issue. This does 60 damage and creates a surge of 50 healing. Has AoE healing over time, and the tick rate is tied to the enemy's rate of fire. But if the enemy makes contact with whatever they're aiming at, it's not going to deal that damage to them. Skill Issue's upgrade version is Ponage Pound. This is going to change the form into a gradual damage over time. This does a surge of 60 damage for every time they deal 60 and that damage over time. The AoE healing is massive, dealing to around 1500 on one target individually. This is the highest sustained ceiling in Deadpool's kit. It requires the enemies to keep firing, however, for you to deal the maximum amount of potential, but the rates are so high and the pace is so fast, normally, you'll be alright.
Pop Quiz is Deadpool's second ultimate, which starts a challenge giving you an AoE circle of healing, a speed boost, and healing over time. Also, your slashes that grant healing to teammates around you now heal more, and guns heal a little bit more. Complete the challenge for even more speed and healing, plus a refresh to your healing factor, meaning you can tank another kill shot. And just so you know, Galacta will count down for you at the 5-second mark to let you know it's about to deplete, not including the big meter on your screen. While upgrading this starts a challenge giving you an increased AoE circle of healing and increased speed boost plus healing over time bonus. Your slashes grant healing to you and your teammates around you, but just a little more per slash, and in the form of bonus health. Complete the challenge for 300 bonus health, even more speed and healing, plus a refresh to your healing factor, meaning you can take an extra kill shot again, and Galactus can still be heard to let you know it's about to cool down. No matter what, your abilities don't refresh though, so make sure you have them before you use your ultimate.
Lastly, let's go over when and where each class shines as Deadpool. Vanguard. He thrives in those choke points, team fights, and space denial scenarios, which means that he excels against people like Squirrel Girl, with his Vanguard presence helping you contain swarm and control space, meaning it's easier for you to get up into her face to obscure those acorns. Hulk and Thor. Big hitboxes can be controlled centrally, and you'll last fighting them even with their throwing around presence because you have that nice central Vanguard presence. Namor. Hard engages get diluted by Vanguard's bubble plus team utility, and you are a hit scan character, so if people like Namor, shoot his turrets and his effects. Same with Loki. Spider-Man. As a tank, keeping your team well guarded is your job, and whenever Spider-Man comes in, you can basically swat Spider-Man away as long as you hit him with your slash. Now, here are some things to keep in mind. His utility and presence matter more than damage, and he controls engagement pace for combat scenarios. He really doesn't handle well when he is isolated. So, people like Iron Man with their flight and burst can poke from unsafe angles. This causes you to have to look away to try and either handle him, or if you don't, let your team take care of him. Hawkeye. Sustained range damage whittles teams down before the vanguards that are peeling can return, meaning since he one-shots, either you have to tank that hit or get Hawkeye out of there. Doctor Strange. Reposition and disorientation shreds space control, but honestly, it's more about what your team does with your plays against Strange and how Strange tries to counter you. Invisible Woman. Her barriers easily counter Vanguard's own zone controls, so please watch out for her. Duelist Deadpool. He thrives in close to mid-range chaos, isolated skirmishes, especially when upgraded. He's great at snowballing fights where momentum matters most, meaning he's going to excel against Punisher. He's a huge hit scan, but no reliable burst window to deny Deadpool's approach. Blade. Closer duel, but Deadpool's range plus the mobility kind of outpaces his melee reliance, but it's a good match there. Winter Soldier. Linear attacks can be baited for counters, and if he doesn't hit or get stunned, he has easy windows for your damage. Star-Lord. He's very projectile reliant, easier to slip through with aggressive dash attacks. Spider-Man. He's agile, but has low health. Deadpool's slash, or just his burst damage in general, is favorable against Spider-Man. Rocket Raccoon. His high damage output but small health pool and short range makes it an easy target for you. His dash as well and your slash are about the same range, making it easier for you to track him down. Now, with all that being said, his kit rewards uninterrupted aggression, punishes hesitation and poor positioning, but he loses value when he's forced into those attrition battles. Struggles really highly against Groot. With his walls and area denial, they really restrict Duelist Deadpool's approach. Hawkeye. The long-range burst plus traps punish closing attempts. This guy one-taps you a lot. Watch out for him. Iron Man. Flight and vertical space deny sustained close contact. However, you have stronger guns than other classes, so you can take him down easier than strategists or Vanguard Deadpool can. Invisible Woman. Shields and zoning make engaging highly inconsistent. Luna, Snow, and Mantis. They have hard CC chains and they disrupt your hit combos very easily. Doctor Strange. Space distortion and teleportation make inconsistent pressure, but it's only so much as long as you have a good source of pressure on him while you're doing your melee attacks. Scarlet Witch. Area control plus unpredictable AoE patterns reduce approach success, but it's easier to track her down when she phases away than other people. Strategist Deadpool. He thrives in extended fights, objective holds, and frontline anchored team play. He excels against people like Storm, who have sustained damage that fits into your healing uptime windows. Venom. Big health pools that need to be whittled down over time work in Strategist's favor. Plus, people that have to get in your face are easy targets for your swords. Rocket Raccoon. Your damage output keeps heals relevant, and he has an easy ult that is suitable to fight against. Psylocke. Their slashes and melee-focused damage face moral attrition, which as a healer, you can sustain. So, as Strategist Deadpool, there's some things to keep in mind. Your healing scales with enemy activity, and value increases the longer the fights last. You're weak when you're denied your uptime. You're going to struggle against people like Hawkeye, with his long-range burst and traps that can pick off allies before your healing arrives, and he can easily one-shot you as well. Invisible Woman. Her shield and zoning slow down preferred paces of fights, so really try and make sure that you're getting your team to target her. Black Widows and Daredevils. Heavy CC prevents all heroes from maintaining their high hit accuracy. Whenever they're coming at you or sitting at the back, it's going to be very easy for them to do their jobs unless you're actively looking at one of them. Lastly, I'm going to go over a simple matrix of basically everything you want to buy. For Duelist, you're going to want to buy your hazardous hijinks first. That is your best ability for this class. There isn't a debate with the fact that it becomes infinite now. Every time you hit an opponent, it is the highest source of damage that you will probably see. But next, I would recommend getting the headshot throw, only because it's very easier for you to get your ultimate, so you could get next upgrade quicker as long as you're also taking photos. However, your kick-ass katanas are also a good pick. It doesn't really matter which one of the two you choose, but either one of those two would be very nice. Vanguard. For Vanguard, I would say either the guns or the swords. It really depends on the environment and the enemy comp at the time. But next, I would say upgrade Deadpool in your area. For this class specifically, it is super easy to shred through people as long as you have your Deadpool in your area, especially with your guns upgraded, I've noticed. So maybe do guns than that, preferably over swords than that. But either is justifiable. Strategist. Guns and sword throw. There's no debate in this one that you should do. Your sword throw should be the very first thing that you are buying. That sword throw with your healing becomes the best source of healing for your entire kit that I have seen. Going through enemies like Jeff the Landshark, coming back with impact, and going out those two other times with the explosion at the end makes it super overpowered and by far the best thing in your kit. And your guns is your main source of healing. The faster you can get those poop emojis flying, the faster you can get your healing going throughout your entire team. And lastly here, I'm going to give you a just simple graph that's going to show you each role, who they're strong against, who they're weak against, and who they're mediocre against. In just simple words, these people here, these people here, these people here. That is on screen now, and I will give you guys time to look over that. Do be in mind that this is only current, and I will probably update this over time as stuff goes on.